Morning, welcome to Swampy's Sea Fishing Adventure channel. Not much of an adventure been going on this month because I haven't been out a lot this month. It's been blowing in easterly. It's not been that ideal, to be fair. So I'm taking the opportunity to replenish some of my rigs that I generally use. So today I am going to make my favourite little 2-hook scratching rig because I'm running a little bit low on them, and the hooks are getting a bit old now on the existing ones, so I thought I'd make a few new ones. So what I have here is a 70-pound shot leader line, and I'm just cutting it from here to back of my neck here as my rig body. Just going to throw a swivel on just to start with. I think the swivels are rated to about £80, so it's all right. This line is so thick, I'm just doing 4 turns around the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, passing it back through the eye of the line where the swivel comes in, and just pulling it down a little bit, and then add a bit of lube. I shall use my weight so I can pull it down nice and tight, like so. There you have it. Take the little tag end off a little bit and leave a cut of mil just for slippage. Right, that is the swivel end that goes onto my rod leader line. Right, next I'm going to put some crimps on. I like to start getting into using rig stops, the gun rig stops and that lot, but I haven't got that far yet. So I'm using crimps. Crimps can be a bit controversial because people say that they damage the line, which I can understand. If you're crimping too hard, it will create a weak spot. I've put on a crimp. I'm putting on a loomy bead, just because I like loomy beads. I like the shape of them. I like the way that they sit. I've got another swivel here. It's got a circle at one end, and then like a triangle pointy bit at the other end, as you can see. There you go. The circle end is the end that I'm going to put on my rig body line, so that it sits on the loomy bead. I'm going to bang another loomy bead on, like so, and then another crimp. Like so. So what we have so far is a crimp, a loomy bead, the swivel, another loomy bead, and a crimp. That's the first bit. Then we're going to go with another crimp, and then we're going to go with another loomy bead. When you cut your main line, to help you put your crimps on and that lot, if you cut them at a slight angle so it creates a point, you can get your crimps and your beads on quite nicely. I haven't done that in this case because it's pretty good. Well, I've got a cascade rig, cascade swivel that I'm going to use. Check your components when you get them out of the bag, because this one is no good. It's bent out of shape and whatever, and it's just bad packaging and quality control. It's supposed to be nice and flat like that. Well, on the cascade swivels, they're slightly offset. Don't know if you can see that. I hold it up against the background in the wall. You can see how it leans one way on the big eye. Where it leans one way, I'm going to put my line through the back of that, so that lean is facing towards where my weight would attach. Because if they go on wrong, they don't sit right for some reason. So I think there is a way that they meant to go on, but I'm just going to double check. So once I've got my Lumi bead and cascade bead on, just check it against the bead when you put your bead on. It is actually going to sit nice. So, which in this case it does. I find if you put them on wrong, that they flick out and don't quite sit right, and then it's a nightmare trying to get it clipped down when you come to clip it down. So it pays to pay attention to that bit. Last is another crimp to go on. This one's struggling to go on for some reason. Let's find another one. And then after that's on, I'm going to throw on a genie clip. Right, there's a couple of types of genie clips that I used to use. One of them has got a hook, a downward hook on it, as you can see there, which is what I normally put on my rig bodies, because then that gives me the option to, if I'm not using a splashdown weight and I want to use a plain rolling weight or whatever, not, if I've got one of them on the end of my rig body, I still have somewhere to clip my hook onto for when I'm casting out. So it's not a flapper rig, if you know what I mean. So I could get that little bit more distance with it, and then I can let it roll around in the tide and search out the fish. So that they are what I normally generally use. But on this occasion, because I'm trying out a new splashdown imp sort of system that attaches to your weight, I'm going to just put on a normal imp clip, genie clip. So again, just do 4 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pass it through the bottom loop. This £70 line is so stiff. It's probably a bit overkill, to be fair. Probably use about 60 or 50. But it's what I got at home, so it would do. There we go. Cinch that down nice and tight. Cut off the excess, leaving a cut of meal just for any slippages. And that's it. That's my rig body sorted. Right, I'm going to clip this end onto this here. I've got a rig making board, my little jig. Basically, it's just a board, and it's got a hook down one end for me to pass the that's a bit tight, that is, to pass the hook, the weight through. And then I've got an elastic band at this end attached to another hook. Right, hopefully there's enough strength in that elastic band just to keep it nice and taut for me whilst I make this one up. Yeah, there you go. Right, where was I? Right, this is my rig making jig. At this end, as you can see, it clips into a hook here, comes along here. It's got markings on here because it's for a 3-hook cascade rig that I make. This is just for 2 hooks splashdown. Then it's got an elastic band which is nearly perished. So yeah, just have to bear with. Right, I basically clip it down onto this jig, which helps just keep it all together, and it just makes it easier. Right, I normally measure halfway, so I put where I want my beads and stuff, my hook lengths, and I make up my hook lengths. So roughly position where your beads are and just roughly measure out your hook snoods. I'm using £30 Amnesia memory-free monofilament line. It's really good stuff actually. I do like it, to be fair. Works really well. I'm using equivalent of, these were bought in a pack of assorted hooks from my local shopping tackle shop. These are equivalent to size 2.0. They're quite nice. So these are what I generally use for my 2 hook scratching rig, because they do catch a numerous amount of different species of fish. So it's quite a good all-rounder, to be fair. I'm trying out a new way. I used to always thread my hooks from the back like that, but with closer inspection and on just physics of stuff, if you pull on your main line, it wants to pull the hook this way. Yeah, so if you go in through the front, when you pull on your main line, it wants to bring the hook in like that. So I'm going to tie these ones with them going in through the front, just to see if it makes a difference. You never know, you might get more hookup rate because you're not pulling against the hook, trying to pull, and it's pulling the hook out of the fish's mouth. It might actually pull the hook and set the hook into the fish's mouth, if you get my drift. So I'm just going to tie this on. It's 5 turns on this because it's a thinner line. It's just like a little blood knot type of thing, going back through the bottom, pull it tight. Some people don't saliva it on Amnesia. Some people do. Some people say it works better if you don't. I just saliva it. So at the end of the day, it's still monofilament line, so I just cinch that down nice. Trim off the tag. I leave a little bit more than a couple of mil on where the hooks are, because it acts as another little bit of a bait stop, you know, for your worm to hook over to or whatever. I'm going to grab a sequin, put a sequin on. I like to have the concave bit facing towards the hook, but you can put it on whichever way you like. I'll just do it that way. Well, I've got the Argus task now. Oh, I'm lucky, it's got a hoop on it for my bait stops. These are pretty cool. I like to use rig gums, like I said earlier. I need to like get used to using or making them. I've never used them, so I wouldn't know where to start. So you just basically slide these on. Try if you can, before you pull the line out of these wire things, to just jiggle it about and see if you can make the hole bigger again, like that. Otherwise it's a pain in the arse, because what happens is you pull your bait thing off and then you're left with a skinny bit of line and you're flapping around for ages trying to open it up to get your fishing line through. Whereas if you do, before you pull your fishing line out, if you wiggle it about and create that loop again, then it makes it far much more easier. It doesn't always work like that. Sometimes it just slips straight out. Right, there's one snood line with size 2.0 hook on. Now we can clip this into said bait holder, which I'm going to try and attempt to do. So it locks it into place, like so. And then I'm going to pick up my cascade swivel. I'm going to thread my hook snood through the cascade swivel. And then at this point, because none of it's crimped down, you can actually set how long you want your first hook snood. So in this case, I'm going to sort of roughly put it there. I'm going to tie this off first before I crimp the first cascade on the rig body. So I'm just going to tie this on, going through with my little lug knot, a little bit like that. Put it nice and tight, and then snip off the excess. Right, now I've actually got that tied on, as you can see, I can then take up the strain and I can start crimping. So I'm going to crimp that. And the idea is you don't want to crimp it too tight so that all the tension is on your hook snood. Otherwise it's just going to stretch it to hell, and then when it comes to using it the second time round or after a few casts, it will just stretch that much that you can't clip it down no more. So you always want to make sure that the tension is actually always on your rig body. So don't over tension your snoods. It's just a gentle crimp. It's all you want. You don't want to go too hard with it. And then just bring the top bead up to the cascade swivel. Just leave it at just a couple of mil, just so it's got a bit of freedom to roll around and do whatever freely. And then just simply just gently crimp that as well. That's it. And then just check. Yeah, that's good. Oh, I have to reattach my elastic bands because it's come undone a little bit. Well, I need to make sure I buy some new elastic bands and replace this one on there because it is perished. It's the only problem with elastic bands. Right, that's the first one done. Now we're going to make the second snood. Basically just roll it out, place where you want that top swivel roughly at, and then just roll it out rough, cut it. I would say that's probably about I wouldn't really know, I haven't got a ruler, but it's just over a foot. So it's 12 foot and say about 14 inches. Same again, just put the hook on, but I'm going through the front so the eye's facing, putting it in where the eye faces, and then do my 5 turns. 1, 2, make sure I've got enough. 3, 4, 5. It's good to make your own rigs, you know, because it's quite a good feeling when you actually catch fish on the rigs that you make yourself, because you know it just adds to that bit more of an accomplishment, and just you know what I mean, making your own rigs. It's nice. And you can see what works and what doesn't work, and you can adapt it. You can put whatever size hooks you want on it, whatever length of snoods you want to use. You know, you can really mix it up and customize your rigs to suit yourself. And the only thing that I would say is just keep it simple. Keep it as simple as possible. Less components, the less things can go wrong with it, to be fair. And then before I started using these cascades, I don't know what I used to do, you know what I mean? They'd just be looped. I used to just pop them underneath like that. So with cascade swivels, gives you that extra bit, you know what I mean? Probably take it up to 90%, so that they will actually ping off. I don't use the springs up the top, not on a 2-hook cascade. If I'm doing a 3-hook jobby, then I'll put a spring on, an SCT spring or whatever, just so that it's got more of a chance of pinging off. Right, I'm going to attach this snood onto the top swivel now, the one that had that little triangle on it. So the same again, 5 turns, 4, 5, back through the loop. I'm glad I've got my big eyes on today. I'll cinch that down. So trim off the tag again, leaving a cut and nail just for any extra slippage. Right, now I've got to this stage, I can now put this hook and clip it into the cascade, and hopefully I can now move this over. I can see where I want to crimp this top one down, and again just make sure that your hook snoods are not too tightly under tension, and that it is your main rig body that is actually going to be taking the brunt of the casts. And just simply crimp that down, bring the other one to it, leave a little bit of a gap so that the swivel can turn freely, and then you have it. And I can detach that from my elastic band, detach that from my weight hook, and there you have my 2 hook scratching rig that I favour loads. It's caught me so much in the past. It's caught me rays, it's caught me dogfish, it's caught me whiting, it's caught me pouting, it's caught me bass, it's caught me plaice. It's a good all-rounder. I do like this. I always have one of these out in the water when I'm out fishing. So that's my scratching rig. The only difference with this one compared to the other ones is just the bottom end where my float is, where my weight is that instead of using the hooked genie for if ever I want to use whatever, I have actually got a splashdown imp on it. I can still put a non-gripper weight on the end of that, but that is what I have. And the beauty of this, which I can see already, if I clip that back up, put that under tension like so, is that when I put this on the deck, the hooks are staying put, whereas normally the slightest bit of slack, them hooks will just ping off, and then you've got to fumble about on the beach clipping it all back up again. So this will allow me to off the ground cast with a bit of ease, and the good thing is when it hits the ground, the water, it all pings off and works how it should do. So happy days. That's my 2 hook little rig, clip down rig. That's my go-to. I suggest you give it a go using making rigs. Like I say, you can adapt them to what you want and how you like them. Yeah, shop bought rigs, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're good. You know, you can go into a shop, buy a couple of packs of rigs and whatever not, go fishing with them, and they will catch you fish, without a doubt. But I mean, they can be quite expensive. You know what I mean? Soon mounts up if you're buying a few rigs, and if you think if you crack off a few times or whatever not, you know, that's 5 or 10 are gone. You know, when you make your own, it's a bit more cheaper, and you can use heavier line. You can lengthen the snood lengths on them. You can add bigger hooks onto them or smaller hooks. I mean, they generally come with small little hooks like that. You know what I mean? So, and small hooks do catch fish, big fish, but you know what I mean? Sometimes it's nice if you don't want to catch too many of the smaller fish, you can bang on some bigger hooks and just target what you want to target. So, there you go. That's my 2 hook cascade rig. So, thank you for watching. I hope it helps. I'm not a professional rig maker. I just thought I'd share how I make my little rigs. There's no rocket science behind it or nothing. It's not overcomplicated. I don't really measure them out, to be fair. I just make them to what I feel looks right, if you know what I mean. You know, and that's it. So happy fishing, tight lines, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.